waters in the world. Number 10. Jacob's Well, Texas. Jacob's Well, located in Texas, is a highly dangerous diving spot. The spot is essentially a spring with a sinkhole underneath it. The entrance to the diving spot is not so dangerous, and most divers do not struggle with the first two chambers of the well. It is when they reach the third that conflict arises. People enter the third room, and their swimming usually causes the earth in the cavern to shift around them. This creates clouds of dust and dirt that obscure the vision of divers. This causes them to lose their ability to see, and it also blocks out the lights from the surface, as well as the lights that they brought with them. Number 9. Blue Hole, Belize. The Great Blue Hole, located off the coast of Belize, is a submarine sinkhole. This area was once dry land, and it eventually came to be filled with water. This has created one of the largest underwater cave networks that are found in our world today. The sinkhole is a part of the barrier reef system out in Belize. It is considered a phenomenal spot to dive, but it has many dangers that can bring about the end of the lives of divers. Real dangers here are the sheer depth of the sinkhole. It's about 410 feet deep, and it is easy to get lost in its dark reaches. Additionally, the waters of this area are filled with bull sharks and hammerhead sharks, both of which have a reputation for being aggressive and dangerous to humans. If you decide to dive here, you must be sure you have some reasonable experience in cavern diving and swimming with sharks. Number 8. Samaisen Hole, Thailand. Samaisen Hole is another popular cavern diving spot that is located near Thailand in the ocean. It is incredibly deep, and it requires significant artificial lighting, even to see anything of consequence. This site is considered a very exciting area to dive, but it is also extremely dangerous. The first danger is the significant presence of sea life, specifically shark life that could pose a potential threat to humans. The main and most extreme danger is the unexploded mines and bombs that sit at the bottom of the ocean here. This was once a war zone, and so many ship-killing devices are lurking under the sea here, and any diver who is unlucky enough to come across one of these accidentally is likely to come to an untimely end. Number 7. Dahab Blue Hole, Egypt. The Blue Hole at Dahab in Egypt is considered the most dangerous diving site in the world. To dive here, you must be an extremely experienced underwater explorer and a good amount of luck. Over 150 divers have met their end here in the last 10 years. At the lower depths of this sinkhole, divers will possibly suffer from something called nitrogen narcosis. This, mixed with the absolute darkness and the deceptive arch, can cause so many divers to lose their way and consequently their life. The arch is deceptive in its shape and size, and it throws divers off when it comes to a sense of distance and size. This causes a loss of faculties, which leads to divers to their eventual doom unless they are extremely cautious. There is a valid reason that this place is called Divers Cemetery. Number 6. Black Hole of Andros, Bahamas. The Black Hole of Andros, located in the Bahamas on the island of South Andros, is so dangerous that only one diver has successfully explored it, and it's not open for regular divers, only scientific professionals. This hole is unique, and it simulates what the ocean would have been like billions of years ago. Unfortunately, for would-be explorers of this hole, the oceans of the past are not very good at supporting the life of today. The hole is filled with many harsh and dangerous chemicals that could cause death to a human in a variety of ways. To dive here, you need to be a scientist with firm knowledge of the chemical composition of this primordial body of water and the right equipment. It is a fascinating hole that can act as a window into the past of our world's oceans. Number 5. Rivers of China. The rivers of China are dangerous, but they kill in a different manner than the other locations that have been featured on this list thus far. They kill through pollution. China has a population that is close to 2 billion, and this is a huge cause for the extreme amount of pollution in China. However, the pollution is not only restricted to the air, but it also persists in the water. The pollution in the water is composed of almost everything you could imagine: garbage, harmful chemicals, and even radiation. This causes a myriad of health problems for the people of China who live near the river. Almost no one actually goes into it. The people who live in the villages near the rivers of China are 35% more likely to get diseases, such as cancer, compared to the national average, and people die much younger when they live near these infected waters. Conservation efforts to revitalize these rivers is an ongoing thing, but it will take some time before these rivers will ever be back to their former glory. Number 4. The world's Southern Ocean. The Southern Ocean of the world, or the Antarctic Ocean, is one of the harshest environments on our planet above and below the water. The Southern Ocean touches Antarctica on one side and 3 other oceans on the other. This ocean is not defined on our maps, and in reality, it's made up from parts of the Atlantic, Pacific, and Indian Oceans. However, this ocean is unique in its sheer roughness. It has the highest winds and the biggest waves of our entire planet, and sailing or even being out here is more dangerous than attempting to dive in the various sinkholes detailed on this list. In addition to the extremely dangerous environment in which this ocean exists, some of the most dangerous animals in the sea exist out here and can be a serious threat to human life in the waters. Number 3. The Indian Ocean. The Indian Ocean Ocean is another part of the world's waters that kills differently than the other hazardous detailed on this list. Unlike the rivers of China though, it's not the pollution that will get you. Rather, it's other people who will get you. The waters of the Indian Ocean are the most pirate-infested waters in the world. Most of them come from the small kingdom of Somalia, where the people are so poor that they have been forced to go to the sea and raid passing ships with assault weapons just to get enough money to eat. These pirates will not hesitate to kill you, because when they are hijacking your ship, if you resist, or even if you don't, you're the only thing standing between them and feeding their families. In the Indian Ocean, you have to be actively aware of pirates. Number 2. Brine Pool, Gulf of Mexico. The Brine Pool is an underwater location that sits at the bottom of the Gulf of Mexico. This newly discovered danger zone is basically death to anything that comes into it, whether it be man or animal. The reason for the death caused here is due to the extremely high levels of salt in the water here. The salt density, mixed with various other chemicals, such as sulfur, create a thick soup of death that kills anything to cross into it. The amount of acidic material in the brine pool causes animals and people alike to get effectively burned to death by the solvent-rich water. The crab that you see in the image has basically been pickled and boiled to death, according to scientists, and it was all because he was unlucky enough to fall into what some people are now calling the jacuzzi of death. This zone is fascinating to scientists, but overall, it should be avoided by any reasonable person. Number 1. The Bermuda Triangle. The Bermuda Triangle is essentially the most dangerous zone in the entire ocean. The catch is that no one knows for sure why this is. There have been multiple theories attempting to relate why almost anyone who enters this triangle of water disappears. The driving theory is the presence of gas pockets under the water rises to the surface and explodes, causing ships to sink. If they do not hit a ship, they can rise into the air and potentially knock out the electronics in an aircraft. This is the most accepted theory, but other ideas such as the possibility of aliens or witchcraft have captivated observers of the Bermuda Triangle since its discovery as a dangerous zone.